welcome you now to another episode of the Global Latin Factor Podcast, where we talk about Latino everything. I'm your host, Crispin Valentin. Today, we have an amazing guest. If you want to know about entrepreneurship, if you want to know about audio, video, if you want to know about an experienced gentleman that's been doing his business for some time, this is the gentleman that you want to check out. His name is Carlos Carrasco. He is the owner of CineCast. He brought us gifts, and I guarantee you want to be tapped into his story, listen to the things that he already experienced as an entrepreneur. So make sure you go ahead, tap in, subscribe to the channel right now. Make sure you give us a like and a comment. And now let's check out this episode. Hola, Carlos. ¿Cómo estás?
Muy bien, Crispin. Gracias, muchas gracias.
Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate you so much. Bro, it's such a small world of how we met a long time ago working together.
Yes, sir.
Didn't even keep track of each other, and all of a sudden we run into this event, and then there you are.
Absolutely right.
That's awesome. All right, so we're going to go before we get started with the interview with Preguntas al Chile. If you have not subscribed to the channel, now is the time. Join the Global Latin Factor community by subscribing. Es gratis. It's free. All right, ¿estás listo? ¿Tacos o tortas?
Tacos al 100.
¿De cuál específicamente?
Y de tripitas, pero bien doraditas.
Bien doraditas.
Bien
yeah.
doraditas.
That's the key right there, doraditas. Sí. ¿Tacos o tortas? Digo, what? What? ¿Qué está pasando? Corn or flour tortilla? Disculpa.
Corn.
¿Gorditas o pupusas?
Oh, gorditas.
¿Mexican coca o jarrito?
Una coca bien mexicana.
Mexicana. ¿Horchata, jamaica o tamarindo? Aguas.
Horchata.
¿Salsa verde, salsa roja?
Roja.
¿Enchiladas o chiles rellenos?
Y chiles rellenos.
¿Menudo o pozole?
Ahí sí está difícil, pero yo creo menudo.
¿Menudo? Ok. ¿Valentina, tapatío o Cholula hot sauce?
Depende de la comida, pero hace probably Valentina.
¿Valentina?
Yeah.
¿Churros o flan?
Churros, pero rellenos de...
Cajeta. He knows.
Yeah.
Él sabe. Vamos a ver qué tal te gusta la bailada. ¿Cumbia, salsa, merengue o bachata dancing?
¿Cumbia? ¿Cuál? ¿Cumbia?
¿Bachata? ¿Salsa o merengue?
Oh, cumbia.
¿O una norteñita?
Una norteña, un guapango.
Un guapanguito? Alrighty. This is not even close to the same line of questions, but I like it. A conspiracy theory that when you heard one time, you're like, that could be true. Or like, that sounds like it could be true. Anything comes to mind?
Man, I think the only thing that off the top of my head that I can think is all those Mexican stories that our grandparents told us, that La Llorona or,
Yeah.
But that's about it. I mean, I don't know if it's really a conspiracy theory, pero... that's the only thing I could think. You just hear it so much. They would talk to about it all the time. We would visit allá in Mexico, and you tend to believe it. But
there's been sightings of the Llorona in the Texas, California. No necesita papeles.
No, es que ella tiene visa para todo internacional.
Le da igual. Yeah, don't care. Yeah. When you hear the word Latino or Latina, or I don't know if you're familiar with the term Latinx, what's the first things that come to mind for you?
Latino, Latina. Pues yo digo, nuestra gente pues todos nacidos aquí de padres mexicanos, pero obviamente incluye todo Centro, Suramérica también. Yeah. Todo de raíces, yo creo, de España, pero... I think that's what kind of comes up.
There's no right or wrong answer.
Yeah.
I just like to ask it because the word is so big, so vast that a lot of people don't care for it. They don't identify it. They'd rather you be Hispanic. Other people would be like, I'd rather be Chicano. Other people, I'd rather be Mexican American.
Yeah, that's true.
Other people, I'd just rather be a human being.
Exactly.
Other people, I'd just be indigenous. It just depends, right? So I just like to see and present to people that like there's no right or wrong answer. It could be everything.
Yeah.
Really.
All the above.
Yeah.
And it depends also who you're with, or, some people tend to refer you as a Latino, otro Hispano. Some do say you're Mexican American.
Yeah.
Some do say Chicano. You know, it just depends who you're having that conversation with. That they tend to refer you.
For you, so do you prefer if they call you Latino, Chicano, Mexicano? What do you don't care? It doesn't matter to you.
It doesn't even matter. That's really cool. Really, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, it doesn't. I mean, it again. I mean, like my parents, Mexican American. Well, my parents said, "Eres mexicano." Es mexicano. La única diferencia es que naciste aquí, pero la sangre es igual, right? Yeah. And, you know, see, if you're talking to someone that was also like me, born here of Mexican parents, you know, they tend to refer you as, yeah, we're Mexican American, and it just depends.
That's cool.
You know,
we're going to get to the interview part. By the way, he brought gifts. Again, guest, if you're a guest, future guest, you don't have to bring me anything, but it's highly appreciated so much. Look at this neat thing.
It's the minimum I could do for you. That's the minimum.
This is his company, CineCast, that we're going to talk about. But before we get there, I want to talk a little bit about, so you were talking about your Mexican-American, your first generation born here.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, have any interesting story your parents shares, how they got here to the States, their journey, or what brought them to the U.S.?
Yeah, absolutely. From my mom's side, she came with all her brothers and sisters. They first my grandparents came, and again, this is just high level. First, my grandparents came. They worked. My grandfather worked for a while, and then, from my understanding, he then submitted all the paperwork, everything they needed to get permits or for all my aunts and uncles, and then he brought them all over here. From my dad's side, él se vino de ilegal. The mojado, like we say, right?
Yeah, of course. And, Bracero, ilegal, mojado.
Yeah, mojado, como quieres ponerla. Y pero yeah, I mean, then, from my understanding, I think they met here. Yeah, they met here because my dad's from Chihuahua, my mom's from Coahuila.
Nice.
And I don't think they met here, and then
that's
from
awesome.
There, yeah,
that's cool. Do you ever visit those two towns, those two states? ¿Y cuál te gusta más to go?
Good question. Chihuahua, I've been there probably of all the times between both. Probably been in Chihuahua about 99% of the time. And the reason being, because like I mentioned, once my grandpa le sacó permiso a todos, well, there was no need for them to even go back. Right. They just had uncles and cousins and, you know, aunts, but all their immediate family was already living here. Nice. My dad is the other way around. He's the only one out of all the brothers and sisters that came to United States. He's the only one that remained here. So all his family is over there. His brothers and sisters, his mom and dad, were all over there. And so he's the one for Christmas and for New Year's, every year we would all go over there. Nice. And for the summer vacation. And, you know, I give him thanks because he always told us, he always wanted us to know our roots, where he came from, my mom and dad, and I thank him for that. But yeah, every that I can remember, every Christmas, New Year's, we always spent it in Chihuahua, and las vacaciones grandes también, summer, we would always go over there. But yeah, I mean, my mom's side of the family all came over here. My dad is the opposite. He's the only one that remained here.
There's a lot of people that go visit Mexico, depending on where area, si es ranchos, pueblo, but they come back with a lot of gratitude for the things they have here.
Oh, yeah.
What is some of the things that you remember, like, once you went over there, even though it was beautiful, you know, you maybe a kid and everything was fun, but still, when you get here, you notice the difference.
Hot water.
Hot water. That's so true, right?
Yeah, hot water. I mean, hot water, running water. I mean, that's first thing I can think of is just that. You know, going over there, you probably experienced it, and millions of us have experienced it as we visit. But I mean, you dread that you had to take a shower with cold water in December, or sometimes you didn't want to wait to warm up water. Yeah, you know,
con el sol.
Con el sol, I mean.
Or leña.
Con leña. I mean, I remember my grandma had un boiler de leña.
Yeah.
And so by time we had to heat it up, I mean, everyone que le tocaba bañarse tenía que echarle leña al boiler, you know, y yo me acuerdo afuera del baño, pues cada quien tenía sus pedacitos de leña ya listo. Y ya dice, hey, no me toquen la leña porque eso es para el baño mío.
No me agarren la leña, because I gotta take a shower.
Exactamente.
Y no se la gasten.
Yeah, no.
You got like 5 to 10 minutes.
Yeah,
rápido.
Exactamente. Y yo me acuerdo que uno se tallaba, pues, le pagaba el agua.
Yeah.
So, you know, I mean, off the top of my head, that's what I can. Y teniendo mueble. Teniendo mueble, ya todo anda a pie.
So, un mueble, para los que no saben, depende de dónde eres, de qué área es un carro. A mueble is not furniture, it's a vehicle.
Yeah, exactamente.
Okay, tell me what about the most memories that bring you like happiness when you remember going over there? What were some of the things?
I think just family. You know, I think that's top. Just seeing all my uncles, my cousins, my grandma, my grandpa from my dad's side of the family. He passed away very, very young. Honestly, I don't have any memory of him. Mm-hmm. But just spending time with family, just the liberty, the stress-free life that you even us as when we're little. I mean, we didn't have to worry about school, getting up on, you know, homework, anything. Even if we were there for just 2 weeks, you know, just seeing how everybody just lived a very happy, very family oriented, you know, life over there. Yeah. You know.
Well, let's segue from that. So you continue growing up, you go to school and everything. Did you ever go to college? Was there any plans of you going to college, or did you go straight to the workforce?
There was plans. So so when I graduated, I enrolled at Community College TCC there in Fort Worth, mm-hmm. and of course I also started working. I think, what was my job when I graduated? I think I was working at a car wash, at a full service car wash there in Fort Worth by the zoo, University Oasis Car Wash is what it was called at that time. And but yeah, I always wanted to continue going to school, but I never finished. I started TCC. I think I maybe earned, I don't even know how many credits, but anyways, I didn't even finish. And the reason being is, I mean, nothing was really holding me back, but you started making good money at that time, even at the car wash, and then, you know, the job I had after that, and I never went back.
Right. So okay, so you keep going into the world and continue moving. You joined where we met, and which was the call center. Mm-hmm. So tell me about that. Is that something that you wanted to do? Was it the money that you found that job that you wanted to do, or how did that job come about?
Great question. I get asked that. So I used to work at the car wash. It was a car wash before I got into corporate America, into the call center. So how that came about is that I was a manager at a car wash, full service car wash, and my sister-in-law, she said, "Hey, Carlos, we're hiring where I work," right? And it was Countrywide. I don't know if you remember Countrywide.
Countrywide.
Yeah, Countrywide.
Yes.
And then I said, "Yeah, I'll go." I said, "Yeah, just give me the address and I'll run over there when I get off work tomorrow. I'll grab an application and I'll fill it out," right? And she just started, you know, just kind of laughing and giggling. I was like, "It doesn't work that way." You have to fill out a resume. I didn't even know what a resume was.
Are you serious?
Nothing. I mean, I've always worked I was always at the car wash, and, you know, my first job was at a Schlotsky, so I've never worked in an office, right? And, you know, I said, "Okay." He goes, "You don't know what a resume is?" Like, "No." And like, "You know what, I'll help you." Right. And then he met up like a week later or a few days later. I'm not sure. And then she started fitting it out, and she goes, "Hey, I'm gonna kind of lie on here. I'm gonna put on here that you type, you know, because they require typing 40 words per minute or whatever." I didn't even know not to
interrupt you, but bro, every single one of y'all, don't pretend that you never lied about how many words per minute you type.
Oh, yeah.
Because you try to test yourself and you're not even getting close to it.
Yeah, and then she told me practice, and I had a computer back then, but man, and there's a program I recall that it'll measure, you know, measure how fast you could type. And I think I was like 13, 7, 9. And I thought to myself, I'm not going to get it. And she was like, nah, don't worry about it. We're hiring left and right that, And so that's how it came about. And she helped me submit it. And she helped me also like just prepare, like don't go in there smelling like Amaro. And even when you have your interview, take the day off, prepare yourself. If you happen to get caught and have that interview in the time, don't tell your boss that your interview is at 1 and want to get off at 12:30 and head straight over there and, sweaty, you got to look presentable, so I took it serious. I did. I actually just did some research and, just, I don't think I wore a tie, but a dressed up shirt, slacks and dressed up shoes, belt and
Como para la misa.
Sí,
Bien,
como
bien
para la
presentado.
misa, sí, bien presentado.
And then you get to the interview y ¿cómo va? How does it go?
Man, I nailed it.
Yeah.
I nailed it. And just, I'll kind of elaborate on that. So my interviewer, she's a manager there. She ended up being my manager years later. And I still talk to her. So shout out to Sadie Rodriguez. Thank you so much. But she's the one that kind of guided me. She did my interview. And years later, I asked her, I said, why'd you pick me? Like, I didn't have no experience in the call center or in corporate America at all. And she told me it was your confidence. It was your confidence. And one of the things she told me is that, and again, I did research, is that you weren't like I am now, laid back. When you showed up, you sat down, you put both of your arms on the table, and you looked at me face to face. And every question, I knew, my questions weren't going to be about corporate America. You didn't have no experience, right?
Yeah.
But it was just about your character, your personality. It was about, scenario based. What if you, all those questions. What if you have an employee or coworker and you've seen them do this or do that? And you nailed it. And I knew that when we interviewed you, I knew that you were going to have potential. You were easily groomed because you didn't have no bad habits.
Yeah.
You didn't grow up in the corporate world. And I went back to my peers and told them, I was like, if we get this guy in, we got to groom him. And yeah, everything. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. And that's how it is. I didn't have no bad habits working in the call center.
That's awesome.
And
were you going to be just taking calls at the time, or were you going for a supervisor role?
No, I was just taking calls. But my job was just to get in there. And I started just taking calls. Within a year, I got promoted. Okay,
so tell me, you get the job, they tell you about it. Now you are introduced to corporate America. How does it feel for you at that time?
I'm very, very... One, I was very thankful, helpful, very thankful. My sister-in-law, the manager who interviewed me. But, it was a whole different world. And I knew I didn't want to, I liked that feeling.
Yeah.
I liked that feeling. And, I did everything, whatever they asked me of me, even if it was a coworker that's been there for years. They asked me for a favor. I would never say no, but I just you dress different. I didn't even know this world existed, to be honest.
The paychecks too.
Yeah, paychecks. Yeah. They started me off at $14.90 an hour. Mm-hmm. And you're talking about 20-ish years ago. That's good money.
That's good money at that time.
That's good money.
Yeah.
$14.90 an hour with just a high school diploma.
And overtime también.
Overtime. And I remember that's when we dealt with the recession, the mortgage crisis. I remember there's times that they had unlimited overtime. Unlimited.
All you got to do is talk to people.
That's all you got to do.
Yeah.
Sometimes they would pull us to do special projects, to do reports and go into loans and check this off and this on. And, we would do special projects, but it's a great experience, man. I worked in the corporate world for 11, 12 years. And
so eventually that company gets bought out by the company that we were at, which is Aquan. Mm-hmm. We're just saying because we were there. We got nothing to say about it. But eventually, one works with corporate America. You've never been. It's exciting. But after a while, you kind of sort of fall out of love with it, right? So things happen. You have to take off. You have to be on your way. Sometimes they don't need you. It's necessary for the business. Yeah. How is it that you decide to go into being an entrepreneur. Have you ever thought about being an entrepreneur previously before? Has that thought even come to you as doing any side hustles that you wanted to get into as you were working in corporate America, or not necessarily?
No, honestly, I don't even recall when I got into the whole audio video. What I do now in the residential, I've always liked audio video. So when I was a teen, I used to do it in cars. Custom stereos and TVs behind the headrest and subwoofers and custom subwoofer speaker boxes. I used to do all that.
So you used to put them together for the friends or for you?
For me,
family?
Friends, all that. Even when friends bought it, I would do it for free.
Awesome.
Like, hey, come over the weekend, I'm off, and let's mess with it. I mean, even though we're there all day, just install one stereo. But I've always liked that. I used to have a truck and a couple of lowriders back then that I installed all the audio video, and I did it myself. And what one thing about me is that what I wanted to do when I did all these installations was to be unique. How can I be different from everybody else? So just if everyone was just installing them regularly, maybe I created a different box underneath somewhere else just to make it unique.
So at that time, there's no YouTube. So how were you learning how to kind of sort of mess around with it? Luckily, you don't create a short circuit and start
exactly right.
Fire, but...
Right. I'm luckily I didn't burn any of my vehicles. I would actually go to car audio businesses and just watch them and ask.
They just let you hang around?
Yeah. Some of them would, some wouldn't, because some people, probably including myself, you don't like to have somebody over your shoulder working, right? But some did. So like, yeah, you can. Or what I would do is I would go get a service done for my car, like have a basic stereo or speaker installed, like very minimum work where I didn't have to pay a lot of money. And then some of them had windows where you could actually watch, while you're in the lobby or the waiting area, you can see as they're installing and just kind of keep an eye. But I mean, that was basically, you're right. I mean, I used to buy books.
También.
And books, yeah. We didn't have videos back there. I don't even think internet.
So it gives you the mapping of the wiring.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
That's the important part.
I would go to those. I forgot what that store was called at the malls that sold all kinds of books. But I would just go buy their books.
Was it in a Barnes and Nobles at that time?
No, it started with a W. But anyways, I just went over there and just bought books. You're
not the only person that's ever told me that just by looking. Like I met a gentleman here at the podcast, tattoo artist. And he used to go get tattoos. He would stay by the window at times too, just window looking and go to the shop and hang around and see. Shopping, but then he used to get a tattoo just so he can ask them questions about like, hey, how can you get a straight? How come you get a straight line? You got to get a rubber band. Like what? What do you mean rubber band? Like, things like that. And you were asking, all of a sudden that dude was learning like that. Him and you are like, wow, just by looking and kind of sort of just asking a few questions and just start doing it, and y'all get to actually do it. And that's wild to me.
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
Crazy
I remember one time I took my Monte Carlo to get some speakers done, and I wanted them on the inside of the panels, the back seat, right? And I watched him and I went over, but he finally ended up kicking me out. He was like, hey, I don't work comfortable, with customers watching me. I know you're not doing it with bad intentions, but I just, I was like, oh no, that's fine. But I seen like how he ran the wire, what tools he used to cut, how he measured, to make the speaker look symmetrical and not crooked and things like that. And then I would just take that back. I would take it back and do it on other vehicles, my friends' vehicles, or, or even another vehicle, or even that same vehicle. Or what I would do, when I got home, I would take the speaker out. Because I mean, it was just a couple of screws.
So you were reverse engineering
exactly
the wiring.
Yep.
What they put, where they connected to what,
how they ran it.
Really?
Yeah. What how they pulled the panel, to see, and how they ran it. Like, oh, that's why. And I knew that it avoids the warranty, right? So if something went wrong, I tried to put it, but I knew that it wasn't going to cover because they'll know that, hey, somebody messed with it here, But it was That's why I would go and just have very basic. Hey, how much would you charge me to install these two pair of speakers? This pair of speakers, X amount. All right, let's get it done. And I would go back and undo other work.
That's wild.
To do all that. But I learned all their little techniques, how they conceal the cable, how they zip tie it versus just throwing it under. I mean, just little things like that.
Why sound though? Why speakers? Why sound? Why TV? Why does that draw you attention?
I don't know. That's a good question.
Yeah.
I just don't know. Just something. I've always liked music. Always liked sound. I always like just video. Like even when we had a TV at the house when I used to live with my dad. I was telling my dad, let's get a big TV. Or I would even when we go to Circuit City. You remember Circuit City, Best Buy? I would just walk there. I would never buy anything. All that just amazed me. All the stereos back then that would pull out that had the TV.
Yep.
Just looking at the specs, looking at the prices. Why is this one $50 and this one's $150 when they look the same? As a matter of fact, they're the same brand, just a different model.
Right.
Just looking at the specs, and I would ask questions. But I would never buy. I didn't have the money.
So at that moment, that was just the introduction for you to kind of into audio. But was it after they let you go that you started your business, or were you doing something else?
Exactly, and that's what it was. When I was there at the mortgage servicing company, I've always wanted to do audio video, but now do it in homes. And I did a couple of side jobs there at my house, messing with my house, also for a couple friends. But when we were laid off, I seen it like a blessing in disguise. I said, this is my opportunity. But I needed experience, right? So what I did, I had to swallow my pride. I did some research and see, how much they start off audio video helpers at that time. And I think it was like $10, $12 an hour. And so what I did, I would Google small business audio video in my area, and I found one, and I paid that individual a visit, and this person was like, "Yeah, you can start with me tomorrow." He goes, "But I pay $12 an hour." I said, "That's fine," and I told myself, "It's been 25 years the last time I made $12 an hour." Wow! But we had a severance package, and what I did, I paid X amount of monthly payments on my mortgage, to have that cushion, because I was like, you can't survive off $12 an hour. There's no way. And this was before COVID.
Were you married with kids at the time?
Yeah.
And what was your wife thinking at that moment?
She's like, go for it. Just make sure that,
awesome.
All the bills and everything gets taken care of, like I already did, and had some money saved up. So then I worked with this individual for about 13, 14 months. And then after so many months, I just noticed that we weren't doing additional work, other things that I would like, home automation, more advanced, right? And I would ask them, it's like, hey, have you thought about, you don't do home automation, or you don't do all these other big projects? And this individual just told me, there's no money, there's not clientele for it, people don't want to spend that kind of money. But I knew there was. I know there's a business, I know there's clientele.
How did you know there was? What were you?
Well, because there's another buddy of mine that does it, that's been doing it, and he has high-end customers. And then you would see videos, you would see magazines, you would see social media. Yeah. So I'm like, yeah, there is clientele that tend to invest in home automation, smart homes. And then so I just told this individual, it's like, I'm thinking about doing my own thing. And I did. I stopped working with this individual, and then I just went register my business, grabbed a couple of tools, and the rest is history.
Did you know anything at all about the business, about starting a business, about registering, where to go? Who told you where to go? Google research?
Google.
Everything was Google.
Yeah, how to start it off. And I was like most people, you're afraid. I kept telling myself, you don't know enough, right? Like, there's a lot to learn in this industry. Like, Carlos, there's a lot more you have to learn. Don't do it. But then I kept doubting myself.
So you kept telling yourself,
yeah, no, you're not ready. But I'm like, no one's ever ready. no one's ever, I mean, there's people that own the business for 50 years are still learning, right? Every day you learn something different. So I said, the heck with it. You know, I researched what you need to do. I went to downtown, register my business with $24. You know, got my tax ID and got my business insurance and go to work.
Do you still remember that conversation where you had, like, going back and forth and it's like, you know what, screw it.
I mean, just looking in the mirror every morning and, you know, telling myself and then just watching videos and watching other people that reading their story, how they started. I mean, I think everybody goes through the same thing. I think everybody just tends to doubt themselves, you know, and then I think another mistake I probably made is when you start telling people what you want to do and then you start hearing doubts from other people as well. Then they step down.
They're the worst ones.
Yeah.
You know why though, right?
Yeah. And I started, I'm like, what am I doing? What am I doing at telling people, you know, my vision, my goals when, you know, I would hear, ¿pa qué? Si ya sabes que vas a batallar y ¿a poco quieres esto y lo otro y yo lo hice, a mí no me fue mal. And you start to doubt yourself. You do it. Like you start to believe the individuals. And, you know, it's like, no, I got to do it. Got to do it.
Well, first of all, they tell you that it's like the crabs in the bucket type, you know?
Yeah.
They don't want you to do better than they are. As long as you're even, you're good. But if you start doing a little better for yourself, you're like, on the bus type of situation. So second is like, what you thought it was different from you than them? Because even though they gave it a go, you still were adamant about like, nope, I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to find out for myself. Yeah. What made you want to push forward?
Well, I mean, they say the worst risk is not taking a risk at all, you know, and I had to. I didn't want to associate myself with no one else because I thought to myself, if you know, obviously you have support from your wife and, you know, your immediate family and you know, but if I'm going to succeed, I'm going to do it on my own along with those who support me. And if I fail on my own. You know, I don't want to bring no one with me. And but just taking that risk and I'm going to be honest, what really helped is when you start to talk to those individuals that are in a better position than you. Those individuals are the ones who really push you. And just hearing their story and seeing how they started and motivate you, like, go for it, Carlos. I started just like you in my little personal truck, throw a 6-foot ladder in the back, a drill, a level, and basic tools, and I'm working 7 days a week. Yeah. You know, you got to start off like that. And
you had a particular go-to people that you used to go to help you out?
Yeah, and a big shout out to David Diaz from Advanced Audio Video. I've known him for, I don't know, I think 12, 15 years now. Mm-hmm. But when I started coaching soccer, I used to coach his daughter. And he's been doing that for a long time. And I mean, he helped me out a lot. I mean, even before I registered my business, I was doing side jobs, you know, cash, mounting TVs, just the basic stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, he would always reach out to me and say, hey, you know what? You know, if you need to buy anything, you know, let me know. I'll get it for you at my price. And you sell it at retail and make some money off of it, you know? Oh, wow. And he never asked me for a dollar, never asked me for any kind of commission or give me a cut. You know, it's individuals like that just want to see you succeed.
That's awesome.
You know, so big shout out to David. And even to the day, we help each other out. You know, I'll refer him over some clients that are asking for certain services or products that maybe I currently still don't offer, and he does, and vice versa. He's reached out where, you know, they're doing big jobs, big projects that maybe a client reached out and it's a smaller project. He doesn't have the time, put it that way. And he'll reach out, we'll knock it out. So, but yeah, I mean, hanging and talking to those individuals that are doing it. Yeah. That's a game breaker. I mean, that changes everything versus talking to individuals that are not as successful, you know, and you really won't get, I guess, too much out of it, really.
Yeah. Do you ever hear the people that you surround yourself is probably what you're gonna be like, instead of like you were looking for the people that were doing
Absolutely.
it. And it's great that you found some people, because a lot of times people say they're like, people that are coming up, they're not willing to ask to successful people because they're too successful to even answer your question or entertain. With it turns out they're the most helpful. Yeah, they want you to. They get inspired by remember and take you back to like he said, like como empecé yo, like with this little truck and this and that. A darle.
Yeah, I mean they see themselves in you when they first started, you know, and then they just want to see you grow as well, you know. I mean, what better way, right, de ver a nuestra raza sobresalir? Yeah. Right? What better way? Ain't that rewarding? Yeah. Right? I mean, seeing you here have your podcast, I mean, you don't think that brings joy to myself and other just people in general, but more especially nuestra raza? Yeah. I mean, what better way to see people succeed? Yeah. You know, but it's sad to say that sometimes it's not always like that, right?
Yeah. And I think it's the individual in general. Yeah. You know, sometimes I do empathize with people because, let's say they gave it a go, but did you really give it a go? Did you give it y'all? Did you, like, a few times they got difficult, did you just push through and wait till it went bad, but it still just kept going till you know, instead of, like, unfortunately you just decided to quit and go back, you know?
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. It's you're always going to have struggles, especially in the business and life in general, right? But it's how you deal with those problems that really make you really get to see your true character. And I'll give you a perfect example. With my ex-boss, when I used to work in a corporate world, I remember that we would have a meeting with all the supervisors. Right. And sometimes we would rotate employees, right? And we would have like a draft. We would put our employees, and our boss would say, okay, pick 2 or 3 employees that you want to remain, or put them in tiers, right? Your top tier, just your overall top performer, just overall good character, everything. Your middle tier and your bottom tier, and then we would do a draft. And all the other supervisors, I mean, all they wanted was all-stars. That's all they wanted. Who doesn't, right? Because, como dicen, no quieren batallar. Mm-hmm. But I remember my boss would say, what makes a true leader is taking those individuals from the bottom and grooming them up. I mean, who doesn't want an all-star team, right? Yeah. Both in, but yes, you can still challenge all-stars, right? They're still, you can move them up even, but it's taking those bottom ones, taking those problem employees, whether it's a character issue, a behavior issue, or performance issue. That's what really demonstrates who a true leader is. And I used to like that. Yeah. You know, like nobody wanted, like, I'll take her. Like, Carlos, you're not going to be able, and maybe I wouldn't. There's some people I couldn't turn around. Yeah. I couldn't. We would have to write them up and eventually let them go. And some did. I was able to tweak some of them and make them good performers. Yeah. But, I mean, it's the same thing here. I mean, when we come with problems, I mean, there's times that, a handful of times, like, man, what did I get myself into? You know, it's like you don't have your guaranteed 40 hours. You don't have your guaranteed income. You don't have benefits, right? And that's the comfort level that we all get used to when we work a 9 to 5, right? Paid vacation, all that. You know, but when I first started, I would go days without work. I mean, there's a couple of weeks where I only had like one job, and it was like $100 job. That's it. Wow. You know, but that's what just keeps you motivated. You know, it just keeps you grinding. Say, you know what, I got to. What am I missing? And you know, just doing marketing and you know, showing people, customers, even the one customer that comes across. I mean, making them think that you know they're your only customer. You know, like follow up 2-3 days later. Hey, how's everything working? Good. Hey, I appreciate you following up. It's just the little things like that. Just kind of distinguish yourselves.
Before we dive into like the actual doing the business itself, tell me about the name, CineCast. Where did you come up with it? Who introduced you to it, or what does it mean for you?
Got it. Great question. I get asked that occasionally. CineCast came from cine, like cinema, you know, because we do home theaters. Mm-hmm. And cast is from like when you cast from your phone, you know, to cast it onto a TV. Mm-hmm. And the reason why both C's are capitalized is because it's my first and last name, my wife's first and last name, and my son's first and last name. So I wanted to have those C's in there. So Carlos Carrasco. Yeah. And so there's a lot like Cine. I don't even know all the names I try to come up with, but you know.
So you had other names before.
Yeah,
you
I forgot what they were, but they were also with the CC, but I forgot like Cine Central. I don't know. There's a handful, and I think I put a post like on social just to kind of get feedback. First, I told my family, you know, cousins, my brother, but then I think I also put a post on social media saying, "Hey, I got these X amount of names. You know, what do y'all recommend?" And then also when I did my logo, I would put it on social media. And hey, I have 4 different drawings or samples of my logo, and they're like, hey, we choose this. But yeah, that's how the name came about. CineCast.
Awesome. CineCast. Yeah. And then the logo itself, is there any representation of anything else? También se ve como dos Cs también, right?
Yeah, exactly, right. And then the play button.
Play button.
Yeah, like when you play a movie or play music or anything like that. So
that's pretty neat.
Yeah, I had another one before, but it had so much detail, and talking to people that create logos, they said the less the better.
Yeah, like
I had so much detailed in it. Like when they try to put it, I mean, if you look at it, you couldn't even tell what it was.
You think it's a Latino thing?
I think it is.
Mexican thing? Yeah, you want to put muchas cosas?
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. I think that's what it is. I mean, look at some of the houses. Sometimes you go, oh, there's so much color. There's so much like it's overwhelming sometimes. But I think it's a cultural thing.
So the thing that I learned about logos, talking to people in marketing, is think about McDonald's. Mm-hmm. It's just a name.
Yeah.
And you know what it is.
Exactly.
It's just everybody everywhere. Coca-Cola.
Exactly.
Just the font.
Exactly.
And you know what it is. And that helps with print.
Yep.
That helps with a lot of things that you're going to spend extra money.
Exactly.
Now, unfortunately, I didn't follow my own advice, but still, it's fairly simple still.
Yeah,
but it stands out for
it's unique.
The purpose of our culture.
Exactly.
All our active, but still not too much.
Exactly.
It will cost me too much to get a print.
I love it.
Thank you.
I love it.
Yeah, I was trying to figure out, but I wasn't. Now it makes a whole more sense that double C, and then even the logo with the play of what you do.
The play button. Exactly.
Yeah.
So
okay. Tell me about. So you go full in, you get everything, you got your tax ID now. Now your customers. Where do you go to find customers? Are you going to family first and things like that to get you some leads, some referrals? And how is it that you're marketing yourself? I think social media is probably a thing now, so you're putting it out there.
Correct.
How does that work for you for that?
All the above.
Everything.
All the above. Family, neighbors. I mean, you just want to get it rolling. I mean, social media advertisements, and I ended up advertising to different areas where you kind of cater more to your higher end customers. But when I first started, I mean, everyone. I mean, I would, even when we would do a job in the next door, you could see somebody just moved in. I will walk over there and just say, hey, ma'am, hey, my name, I was just working here with your neighbor. I just wanted to introduce myself. My name is Carlos. I specialize in audio video. You're probably going to need some TVs mounted, right? And it's like, yeah, I actually do. But a lot of customers don't think about like the audio video. It's in the back of their head. It's not even brought up at all. They don't realize it's about furniture. It's about where we're going to put our beds. It's about that. But people don't realize like people want their TVs mounted. So that's how I would just get out there and you got to get out there on the battlefield.
Were you always outgoing? I know you were always friendly and everything, but there's one thing of being friendly and be approachable. To you, be the one that approaches people and tell them about what you got.
It's a little scary.
Yeah.
It's a little scary. And I'll tell you another thing why I kind of hesitated, because maybe you can relate to this, and I know a lot of raza can relate to this. I mean, I grew up in El Barrio. We didn't grow up around money. We didn't grow up around money. I grew up in Diamond Hill North Side, which, to a certain extent is El Barrio. Yeah. It's El Barrio. I didn't know another world existed out of that area. I didn't even know, Norristown Hills or just Colleyville, West Lake, South Lake. I didn't know those existed. That was a whole different world. Wow. So you grow up with the mindset of this is my world, right? Yeah. This is all I know. I don't know much about money. I don't know what it is to earn $100 a day, So I've never been around with customers that earn 20 times more than you do. Right? So yeah, it's scary to approach a customer like that. When you're working at some of these homes, $1 million homes, and the neighbor, they have, these $100,000 vehicles versus us. I had an 88 Monte Carlo, it was $500 cash.
Yeah.
Right. So that was my world. But I think a lot of customers gave me feedback at the very beginning. And one thing, because I would always ask for feedback and reviews. And a lot of them just said, man, you just sound with confidence. I would go over there and just say, hey, good afternoon, man. Like, hey, I don't mean to bother you. I see y'all moving furniture in, but I just happen to be here with your neighbor, Miss whoever. And I noticed that you have some TVs, who's going to mount them for you? We haven't even thought about that. We got a million other things going on. Like, hey, well, I'm here for you. Here's my business card. Some we would do it right there and then. It's like, hey, we ain't got nothing else to do. We don't have another job. It's already 1:00. It's just 1:00. It's like, we have time right now. Mm-hmm. And I would carry mounts with me, just basic. And they're like, well, we don't have the mount. I got them. And then it was all just about getting our foot in the door. That's all it was about.
Because once you install the TV mount, then it opens up for surround, your alarm, everything else.
Everything. The goal is to get my foot in their door. That's all about.
Yeah. What expanded your vision from all you knew was about audio to all of a sudden you realize there's a whole different world? Was it your business or was it the corporate world?
I think the corporate world helped out a lot. Like, man, I didn't know this world existed. I didn't know what a resume was. I didn't know what it was to wear a suit and tie. I didn't know what it was to do annual reviews. I didn't know what it was to give feedback. I didn't know what Excel was, what, PDFs and Word and all that. I didn't know what all that world was. And, you want to learn more about it. You want to, be like a sponge and just absorb everything that you hear from individuals that are doing better than you. Mm-hmm. And seeing people, successful people and just hearing their story. I mean, you kind of ask yourself, why not me? Why not me? Right? I mean, if this individual can do it and they grew up worse than I did, well, why not me? And I think a lot of it is just the comfort level. It's just being scared, but I mean, you got to get out there. You got to get out there and don't be afraid to fail.
As I hear you talking, a lot of motivational videos, self-help things come to mind for me from you. Mm-hmm. I don't know if you ever got into that or not, or listened to that often. Not in addition to, I hear confidence twice already from you. Is that something that you like for you, personal growth, to instead of playing whatever, you play something like that or hear something like that to kind of motivate you or get you going necessarily, or not?
Yeah, I mean, it's watching videos and another thing that helped me out is that when I first registered my business, one of the greatest gifts that I received was a book from my cousin. Whoever thought that a book, not tools, not here's $100 for you to go get your logo designed, was a book. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow, shout out to Mark, my cousin. We grew up, we're the same age. And, he's very book smart, very, very smart guy. And when we met after several years and he knew I had registered my business, he goes, here, I brought you this.
Tell me the book that pretty much helped you shape and change pretty much your life. What was the name of it? And what did you find in that book that helped you out?
God, I don't even remember the name of the book. I read it so long time ago, but it's from a CEO that used to run, was it Frost Bank or... but he was a CEO for several like big corporations. And just how he started off, I mean, there's chapters of, just how he started off as an employee and what he needed to do to scale that and eventually become, CEO. And then I think he also had like a side business. But I mean, all that, just every chapter in that book just helped me out. I mean, how to treat people, having a great relationship, take care of your employees, take care of your, we learned this, take care of both your internal and external customers. And I think that's very, very important to the success of anyone's business or just working for a job. So just reading that, but just watching videos and talking to those individuals, like as mentioned. I mean, I know I sound like a broken record, but associate with yourself, surround yourself with people that are more successful. I mean, that's why I go to the network. I didn't know that world existed. My world was, the people who I grew up with. I mean, nothing wrong with them. I mean, they're all great buddies of mine. But when you're trying to do something different and it's not their vision, then you have to surround yourself, look for another crowd.
I really love the Fort Worth Hispanic Chamber of Commerce for the same reason, like you were saying earlier, like we got to support each other. The whole mentality is that.
Oh, yeah.
For celebrating wins, helping you with challengers, referring people your way, because whatever the case might be, they're all like cheering on for you.
Exactly.
Even if you don't see them every single time, they're like cheering on that they know that you're going to be successful. You keep at it. Then they need you. If you never heard it before, if you didn't have any support system that was cheering you on, they'll be the ones to like, you got it. You can do it. Go get it. And I love them for that.
Yeah. I mean, you feel it when you walk in the door. Yeah. You feel it when you greet somebody in the parking lot. Yeah. I mean, you feel it. You don't even have to walk into the building yet. Everybody just says, hey, how you doing? It's how are you doing? How's the family? And how's your business going? Yeah. It's not the other way around. Yeah. It's not hey, how's work? It's like, how you doing, man? Hey, I remember last time you talked to, you were going on vacation, right? That casual conversation to, hey, how's your business? And it's breaking that ice, with individuals. But yeah, you can feel it. It's, I think, one of the best decisions I made. And big thanks to Roxanne Martinez, who I went to school with when she heard that I registered my business. She told me, Carlos, you got to become a member of the Fort Worth Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, and kind of brushed it off because, I was focused on the business. Mm-hmm. And then like a year, whenever I registered, which is about going on a year, it's like something told me like I need to become it. And then when I added a post on my Facebook, and she commented on, I told you, Carlos.
About time.
Yeah. So thank you, Roxanne, for the great recommendation. So
okay. Whenever you're going out in clients, especially some of these neighborhoods that you're from the barrio, like you said, you're from that area, you worked in corporate, so you got to know a way how to talk to people, and you kind of learned a lot of the times. But even that sometimes doesn't transfer to whenever you're approaching people, especially in those neighborhoods that got a lot of money, especially being Latino. Mm-hmm. Did you ever run into funny looks or funny sayings or anything like that? People were kind of hesitant or fighting, or because of your approach, they were a little bit more like easy to talk to? Anything like that?
Not that I can think of, but I mean, if I do a self-assessment, right, I think, approaching people, customers, I mean, they like that, but I think I probably lost a handful of jobs because maybe I got too comfortable with them and I started talking to them like if they were a friend. Mm-hmm. And you can kind of see it in their body language that, like, while they made me feel comfortable in their house, within minutes, I just started like almost talking to like friends. I can't think of some things that I might have said. Nothing disrespectful, right? But I almost felt like now I'm talking to them like a friend, and like where maybe that conversation could have come up months later after doing X amount of jobs.
Too soon.
Yeah.
Too comfortable. Too soon. Yeah. You still wanted to keep
that professional,
the business relationship going.
Exactly. Yeah. I haven't even grown that yet, and I'm already getting into, and I think that's just me, right? Right. But I noticed that. And as a matter of fact, I actually have one builder now that I want to reach out to and get feedback, because I want to know why, this builder never reached back out to me. When it was a referral, somebody else referred me to this builder, and the builder called me. It's like, hey, you're highly recommended, but I want to know. And, I just haven't had a chance to call him and just say, hey, you know what? It's been weeks. So it's pretty evident that, you're not going with me.
So you're still pending to do the work?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah, and I think it's just that being afraid of what hearing. But I mean, if you want to grow, you gotta be open to that feedback, even if it's some criticism or that.
Anything in the initial conversation that you feel just kind of weren't feeling each other?
I mean, that's what I kind of look back at.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just trying to think. I don't know if it was the whole, did you get too comfortable with this individual too soon, Carlos?
Mm-hmm.
I don't think it was that. I don't know if it was pricing. I doubt it.
Okay.
I doubt it, but I want to talk to them and say, hey, you know what? It's pretty evident, but to help me grow as a young business owner, what did I do or what did I not do, right, to earn your business?
Mm-hmm.
And that way that person's candid with me and just say, you know what, Carlos, you were approachable, but these are the things I liked about you, and I think this is what also I decided not to go with you either.
Okay. Where did you get doing the self-assessments things? Where did you get it from?
From working at Bank of America. We did self-assessments. Our boss, we would do it with our employees.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, we have a one-on-one in 3 weeks. Here's 3-4 questions, fill them out. We'll talk about it. I want to know what you think about yourself.
Okay. Let's touch back on that question about confidence. Where does it come from for you? Because I feel like confidence is like if you doing certain things constantly, eventually like you're going to get that confidence of doing the job. But like in general, just moving through the world, where does that come from for you?
I don't know if it's really, I think it's not from family. I can't think. I think some of my teachers, some of my teachers that I had in middle school, high school, how they were just confident in when I wasn't doing so good in school, and then, they would just, sit down and talk to, hey, Carlos, can you stay after class? Like, yes, teacher.
Mm-hmm.
This, and just instilling that confidence in me, and then just see me. I think also just the failures I had in my life, both on a personal note, and in my career at work, and all phases, and to tell myself I don't want to go through that again. I've been through some tough, and a lot of people have through some tough situations, and I told myself, like, what did you do, Carlos, and don't do it again. Don't do it again.
Okay.
And
what did you dig deep to get out of there? I don't want you to be, if it's okay with you, you can share some of them. If not, I'm fine with it. But I want to know, how did you dig yourself out of it? Being there, being in the rut, being in the mud per se, like, how do I get out of it? I assess that I need to learn from this, but I need to move forward. Where did that come from? The strength, the perseverance to keep going?
Just looking at myself in the mirror and say, hey, if you want to continue to grow, Carlos, you have to make these changes. There's a level of confidence, right? When say, hey, there's some certain traits about an individual that you don't need to change. But if you're hard-headed about certain things, it's only going to get you so far. And where I used to work at Bank of America, my support staff, and what I mean, my upper management and some of my peers, would tell me, Carlos, if you want that position, here's what you have to do, and you have to do it. There's nothing that, if you don't want, that's fine, right? Mm-hmm. But you keep telling me you want that position, whether it's a lateral move or you want to grow up or you want to go to another department. Sell yourself. You got to sell yourself. Yeah. You can't tell me, it's like, hey, boss, hey, can you tell the VP of that department that I want it? He goes, but you got to sell yourself. What is it? Help me help you, mm-hmm. right? I'm not going to go to that VP in the department and say, hey, I got a supervisor that's interested, and then they're going to ask those probing questions. They're going to ask, okay, well, what is it about? Why your supervisor? If they come out like, I got to be X, Y, and Z, and here's why. Well, you gotta show it to me. So I think my teachers, the bosses I had working, in the corporate world, it helped me out a lot. And then my wife, my son in general, just seeing them, just being successful for them as well, to be a great role model, a great husband, a great dad, great brother, a great son. I think I owe it. That's the minimum I can do for them as well. So
that's awesome. All right, let's talk about other services you offer. CineCast, you do audio, video, all home stuff. That's all you do home now. You don't do anything else. You do alarms. Tell me everything that you do.
Great question. So we are a custom integration business. So we do smart homes, home automation. So of course the audio, the video, but there's a lot of other things that we've been certified and that we specialize in. So we do networking, when people have slow speeds or in certain areas of their home or their commercial business place of employment or a place of business, we help enhance that overall networking.
For the internet?
Internet, exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah, we don't offer internet service.
You just do the wiring to get the most out of your service.
Exactly.
Nice.
Yeah, you need a lap, you need a computer, hardwire, then we'll run a cable to it to hardwire to the internet versus having something on Wi-Fi. We do control lighting, so your smart switches, we do that. We're not electricians, so we don't do the high voltage, but we partner up with electricians for them to do all the wiring for us, and then we'll give them the switches, they install them, and then what we do, we program it, and to have it dimmable or have it off and on at certain times. We do automated shades; those are real popular.
Oh, nice!
So the motorized shades, motorized drapes. We do the patio shades, the outdoor, so people can enjoy their outdoor living. We do a lot of outdoor, audio, video, landscape speakers around the pool. We do low voltage lighting to light up their their landscaping. We do outdoor rated TVs that are meant to be outdoors, that can be rained on, and we do a little bit of all that. We do. But again, these services we didn't offer those 5 years ago when I first started. It was just TV mounting. But if I wanted to separate myself from that competition, I knew that I had to continue enhancing my overall skills, offer, it's all, everything that we offer, it's life-changing for customers. It's a different lifestyle. And that's what some clients want. In today's world, it's all about simplicity. Customers do not want to come in and after a hard day at work, sit down on the couch and see 5 remotes anymore. One for TV, one for the stereo, one for the Blu-ray player, another one for Roku. They don't want to see that anymore. All these new homes have 5, 7, 10 windows in their home. They don't want to be manually rolling them up or down. So that's where we come in and we offer. We're doing a house right now in Weatherford where we're going to do some automated shades. And matter of fact, I just got off the phone earlier with the client. But it's all about simplicity.
Yeah, I want a shade that a time, whenever the sun's up at a certain time, it just comes on and wakes me up.
We do all that.
Do it?
Yeah, we do all
nice.
that. Yeah, we can create schedules. So, we could create it where, if Monday through Friday you wake up at 7 a.m, we can have it where they open up. We can have the music come on with your favorite song at a certain volume, where it does it automatically.
What?
Anything we can get a coffee pot to start brewing your coffee at 6 a.m. Now we can't get it to pour the coffee in there, but if you do it the night before and have it prepped, then we can have it where it
Not
starts
yet.
brewing.
Give it a little more time.
Yeah, give it some time, but
get the little robots moving around.
Anything that's powered for the most part can be automated.
Okay, so I watched this podcast and this gentleman had a ethical hacker, that he said remote controls to the garage, smart houses, all those things could be compromised.
Oh yeah.
What things do you do offer, or what steps do you take to make sure that the house is as secure as possible for the customer? Because I'm pretty sure they might not even know that it could be anything wireless could be tapped in some way, somehow. Yeah. How do you help them make sure they're protected?
Well, we can, no matter how secure people can always hack into it. But one, we take these networking classes and these experts that train us. I mean, they say bottom line is password. I mean, we could do other things, firewall and, other things that we can do in it. But more importantly is to make sure that they have a unique password. The equipment has to do a lot with it. So if customers are more than happy to bring their own equipment, but if you purchase something from Amazon because you got this $9.99 Ring doorbell that you didn't want to buy a $250 from me, hey, I understand we're all into saving money. If you watch the news, all those China those are so easy to break in, to hack into.
Not only that, but there's probably a server.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it already comes in, and they know that as soon as it jumps online, they're watching you already in China or anywhere in the world. And you hear that a lot in the story.
But it's real though, right? You can validate
but it's real.
That stuff.
Yeah, we can validate it. You know, so when I got into this business, prior to it, we're all like that. I want the cheapest in anything. I mean, that's just human nature. We can save money. That's just evident. We're going to save money. But when you own your own business, you start to realize that you get what you pay for in anything, whether it's service, whether it's equipment. Yeah. Again, if you want to brag about, a 1999 video doorbell that you got, that, we're going to sell you a $300 one. That's a major savings that you're doing.
But your compromise is that they're gonna be watching you somewhere on the other side of the world.
Yeah,
just taking everything that you're doing and listening.
Just overall, just think about the product. I mean, just like anything in general, there's a reason why something's more expensive. Yeah. Right? It's just obvious why something's more expensive. So I mean, the resolution, the app, and there's a lot of things, and I tell this to any of my clients and just anyone in general. I mean, if you have the budget in anything, invest in it. And then you won't regret it.
Those items that maybe you're selling or that that are quality and more secure, mm-hmm. You rather just have them get those or something more secure, even though it's a little bit more pricey for the same reasons, right? Security more than anything.
Exactly.
Of course, quality, but security too.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's more secure, and you can tell because when we set them up, when we program it, I mean, it just the level of options, about adding a backup email and two-way verification, and compared to like the ones they provided with. I mean, you don't even have to create an account. You just scan the QR code and. You watch, you can watch, start watching video from it. But, I mean, just the overall quality has to do a lot with it because, again, these customers want simplicity. They want something that can work. Now, granted, technology is technology. Mm-hmm. No matter how good it is, you could have, failures, right? You could have something that requires a firmware update, but that's just normal. And it happens on our phones, right? There's a reason why it says, hey, your phone's asking for a new firmware update, right? Because we got to work out this bug. Yeah. Even though you paid $1,000 for your phone or $1,500, I mean, it can still have issues, but you just put yourself in a better position, to avoid that issue. And it's about customer. It's about the customer. We want them to have a great experience with overall service mm-hmm. and our products. We don't want to get a service call, but it happens. It just tends to happen, but when we follow up with them, we want that conversation with me or my technicians to be, Carlos, I mean, it's working like you told us it was going to work, and we haven't had any issues. As a matter of fact, we had a party this weekend. There's a couple of people that are going to be calling you because mm-hmm. they like the setup, and that's what we want. But we also understand that, we don't live in a perfect world. We tend to make mistakes, especially early in my first years. But what customers like about that is how you react, right? Like, hey, hey, I'll be there tomorrow. Or you know what? If it's not urgent, customer can show up next week and keeping your word.
People do love accountability. Not only that, but I heard that accountability kind of shows your maturity.
Exactly.
So
that's the real character in somebody. Yeah. When everything's good. I mean, I learned that when I was coaching. when I had a youth soccer team, when we were winning, all those little things, issues, we didn't bring up to the why, because we were winning. But as soon as we started playing other teams and we started losing, all of a sudden, parents, myself, the players, coach, players or parents, I would sometimes get mad at the parents. Say, that's why I told you they shouldn't be missing practice, right? But they were missing practice when we were winning, but we didn't address it. Yeah. But that's just how we are, right? Yeah. When everything's we're on the high, you brush it off. And it's the same thing here. I mean, it's like, if everything, we don't have any complaints, we're getting work, even though there's things that your employee, your technicians, or myself could be doing, that's just human nature. We tend not to address it because money's coming in, not a single customer complaint. We're getting a lot of referrals, but those issues are exposed whenever something does happen. And then all of a sudden you want to chew everybody out, right? So it's being disciplined, right? It's knowing that, hey, you know what? Let's tweak it now. Awesome.
All right. We weren't short on time, but I think we covered a lot of in regards to your business and everything. How many employees do you have now?
Where are you at now? I have 2 right now. Two nice. Employees.
I don't know if you're a person who goes or not, but just in general, I don't like the in 5 years or whatever. But here in the near future, where do you see yourself with a CineCast? Where do you want to see it at? Where do you want to put it? Where do you want to put yourself as far as within a certain time frame? Or do you have a vision of where do you want to see your company at here in the near future?
Well, I just want us to be able to be scaled in every single year. To be in a position where when it comes down to audio, video, that our name gets recognized, right? I want people to know me by my name, not my business. I'd rather have people say, hey, reach out to Carlos. I forgot his business name, but reach out to Carlos versus the other way around versus reach out to CineCast. I don't know the owner's name. I forgot, but, have my employees be successful. I have them, learning as well, because I want them to grow as well. But be in a position where, I can focus more on running the business rather to be in the business as well. But it's not really about, what I mean by scaling, I don't mean being nationwide, having 500 employees, because like they said, more money, more problems, right? It's just, I want to be in a position where we can, like they said, it's all about making more but working less. So finding ways where we can be at a house, and instead of making $100, how can we make $500? And it comes down to sales and things like that. So
I know in our culture, nuestra cultura, at least, that we are very prideful people at times, especially when it comes to our work. And we love to have that hat of like, yo sé hacer todo, yo puedo hacerlo todo, and everything. And that's kind of challenging sometimes for entrepreneurs, because they don't want to let go of certain things, delegate and things like that. Did you find it challenging? Are you finding it challenging to do that for yourself because sabes que lo puedes hacer todo? Or do you know in order for you to scale up and be better, in better position, you have to be able to let go of those things? Has it been challenged for you?
Oh, yeah. I experienced it today. Yeah. I mean, it's and if you can't trust anyone, if you can't delegate, then you're right. You're another 5 years from now, you're gonna see me running in the attics. You're gonna see me out there, trenching to run wires, and it is because it is a pride thing. There's a reason why. Look around. I mean, how many, especially in nuestra raza, how many people do we know that have their business for 10, 15, 20 years, and they're still the only employee, and they're still out there? And, what I've learned is that, and people at the very beginning when I registered my business, told me this, like, here again, going back to how we grew up, right? Is when not having the experience, not having any coach, no one, right? I used to put a cap on my business. So think about that. I used to tell myself, as long as I make X amount per day, or if it averages X amount per week, per month, I'm good. But what's wrong with that? It's a business where it's unlimited. So why would you're not a salary? You're not getting paid hourly. where somebody's capping your hourly rate at $15 an hour. And I used to, because that's no one coached me. And I don't know no one. I just, so I used to do that. And I remember, I would, like Monday and Tuesday, I would hit that average, or I would get more. And I would tell myself, well, Wednesday, I don't got to work. I used to tell myself, I don't got to work Wednesday if I don't have no job, because Monday and Tuesday, that more I made, it makes up for Wednesday, right? And then I used to tell myself, next Tuesday, I got a job that's going to make up for Thursday and Friday. Because I was just telling myself, as long as I have that average, then I'm good, right? So
when did that change for you?
Just watching videos, talking to people, and I was telling somebody that, a friend of mine that he's a very successful business he's a framer. He's been doing it for 20 years, and he told me, it's like, why are you putting a cap on what? Wow, if you already made up, why would you not grind Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Monday, Tuesday? Why would you not grind? Because you have a job Wednesday that's gonna make up for those 3 days leading up to that. And I'm like, yeah, you're right. Like, yeah, why? If you're gonna leave your business. Mm-hmm. Go back to working where somebody does truly put a cap on it. Somebody does have control over how much you don't have. There's no one that's holding you back. So if you don't have no work for tomorrow and you already made up, why would you not go out there and grind? Why would you not, those customers that were posting on your social media, follow up with them, and I was doing that. And even now, I struggle because it's my baby. It's no one else's. And people have told me, it's like, well, I used to tell, because I want that technician to care as much as I do. No, they won't. No one's ever going to care as much. But as long as they're doing the job at your expectations, mm-hmm. that's all that matters. So now lately I have been, just watching the individual, versus back then, like, get down from the ladder. And we need to get it done. Yeah. Versus, no, get back on the ladder. I'll show you. Look, take that screw off, or this is the reason why it's still hanging. Yeah. Like, versus just get down for the ladder and then let me do it. Okay, let's move on to the next one. I'm penalizing myself because I'm not, and I'm penalizing the employee because they're not learning.
Do you ever put yourself back onto corporate, wherever you were getting those employees that needed extra loving to get them mm-hmm. up to par, instead of at a one time you were just like taking them, not even giving them the opportunity to grow and just do it yourself, and not giving you the opportunity to grow by letting them grow so you can just do other stuff that's in the business to grow. Exactly.
And then that's where I started now reflecting on that, because the reason when I was a supervisor, the reason I used to get pulled to do special projects as a supervisor, mm-hmm. and other supervisors used to get mad, like, hey, boss, how come you always pull Carlos? And I would tell my boss, like, boss, why do you keep, I want to do these special projects away from my team. He goes, but why do you keep picking me? He goes, look at your team. They run by themselves. You don't need to be there. Every time your peers are off, Carlos, you always have to be over there because they act the fool.
Something's burning over there.
Yeah. And that was so true. It's like, true. Because you instill that in your employees. When you're on vacation, Carlos, we never have any issues with your team. Never. Like, no one comes in late. I mean, yeah, they could, but, taking extra lunches or longer breaks. Like, I go over there, your peers go over there to check in. They're like, no, we're good. He goes, that's the reason why we allow you to do special projects. So now I look back at that. It's like, all that care, or the, when all of y'all used to leave at 7, how you used to tell an employee, hey, I'll stay here an extra 15 minutes, and mm-hmm. I'll show you how the report works. Well, now I need to do that in my business. Like, hey, the reason why you're struggling with that? I'll show you. Here, come here real quick. And because the drill this and the drill that, and you didn't have the right drill bit, or that's why. Oh, okay. So I've had to learn to do that.
I think another concern too for entrepreneurs that do a business is like, what if those employees take your idea and run with it, do their own thing?
Yeah, but I was thinking like that before. Mm-hmm. Like, why would I want to show everybody my knowledge? But if you keep thinking like that, they're never going to grow, and you're still going to continue being in the same position as a business owner.
Now, not to mention that, but okay, so maybe they go hard and take off. what they're doing. But you have the years or in the beginning, remembering when you first started, how difficult it was. They're going to have to, whether they want it or not, learn what you taught them, whatever, they still going to have to do the grind. It's not like they're just going to become at your level at that time already.
Correct. But here's the beauty of that, right? Because if you have an employee, right, and I'll go back to the corporate world here shortly, but if you have an employee now, right, let's say they were with me for 5 years, and they really are my right hand man. I mean, they know more than me now at this point, right? If they came up to me and they told me, you know what, Carlos, I'm gonna give you 2 weeks. I'm gonna start doing my thing. Of course, it hurts, right? Human nature says, hey, man, I hate to lose it, but how rewarding is that to be able to groom an employee to then start their own business?
Yeah.
It's the same thing that my boss used to tell me when I was at Bank of America. He goes, Carlos, look how many other departments are reaching out to your team to pull from that. And you're telling me you don't want to lose your employees. You're right, you don't, right? But that goes to show how good you are. Because why is it that they're not pulling from your peers? Because they're not showing them anything. All they want is for them to do a 9 to 5. None of them tell them, hey, you know what? You're so good. Do you want to learn something else? Do you want to learn Excel? Right?
Yeah.
You want to know how to do a Word doc? You want to put a PowerPoint together? No one does that but you. And you're making them more skillful, right? And more credible that other departments are looking at your team.
Not only that, but their cost goes up, their value goes up as a person, and they can make more money.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's how you're doing it. And doesn't it feel good when they come back and say, boss, thank you?
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? Or a month later, they come back and they sit at your desk, like, hey, how's it going over there? Like, good. Thank you, boss, for everything.
That's cool.
Like, that's rewarding.
Here we go.
Yeah.
All right. Once again, we're running short on time. Muchísimas gracias. Thank you for being here. A few more questions before I let you go.
Yes.
All your social media, where can they reach you at? Where can they find your contact? I don't know if I think you're still working on the website, but all your social media, where can we find you at?
You can find me at Facebook at CineCast AV. Same thing with Instagram at CineCast AV. And then also with TikTok at CineCast AV.
Okay.
As well.
Saludos.
Follow us.
Make sure you follow. You already gave some saludos, but any other saludos that you have?
Just everyone, la familia. Saludos a mi esposa, a mi hijo, a mis jefes, que tanto los quiero. Gracias por todo el apoyo. Pues a todos, just everybody, you. Crispin, just pleasure again for being here. I mean, I enjoy the time, so very, very happy for you, for seeing you succeed as well. But just everybody out there, my brother, and for all those out there that are thinking of doing their own thing, go for it. Go for it. Just surround yourself with good people, research, study, educate yourself, and trust me, you'll make it. So don't be afraid. Don't be afraid.
Awesome. What is an important lesson that you learned doing your business that you would tell your younger self that will help somebody else out? What would that be?
Know where your money's going. Know where your money's going. And I still struggle with that now. And then just real quick, how many people don't we know that they're skilled at what they do? They're at a restaurant, landscape, anything. They've done it to us, and we said it to people. Man, I've been coming here for 10 years, man. You need to open up your business, right? And then they finally get convinced and they open it. But they don't have no financial literacy at all. They don't know where their money's going. And you run into them 5 years later, right? And they're back at the same restaurant. Like, hey, what happened? You had your little restaurant or taqueria going or whatever. Like, I mean, sometimes they don't tell you the truth, but a lot of it is that they don't know where their money's going. So, anyone that's out there, please, I beg you from the bottom of my heart. I didn't listen to it. When you make $100, those $100 are not all yours. All right. And the problem was that I used to listen to people who had no idea in business, convince me to spend all $100. I used to get my first big check. They knew it, whether it's family, whether it's friends, and to keep them happy, I would go off and spend 75% of it. And 75% was maybe 30% of that was mine. So please, know where your money's going.
Would a good CPA help you out?
Oh, yeah. And that's what I'm looking for right now. Absolutely.
I got somebody for you.
Yeah.
Make sure that they take care of you.
Yeah,
with
absolutely.
a free consultation, 30 minutes. Just
For real?
Yeah.
Let's make it happen.
Check out your structure. It's also from the chamber, so I'll let you.
Okay.
Te la presento después. But good.
I think I know who you're talking about.
Good direction though.
Yeah.
Okay, so this one's a little deeper. I just like it because I just know it just helps me too as well. I heard this gentleman say, I'm not immortal. I am mortal, and I will die one day. Not to scare me, terrify me, anything like that. But, it's a reality in life, right? It happens. With that, I wish you a long, prosperous life. However, after everything's said and done, what do you want people to think and feel about your life?
When I'm gone, that he was just a great human being, just in general. Just a great father, great husband, great son. And that's it. I mean... I don't want people to know me for money or lack of thereof, but anything material. I just want them to know that I did everything possible within my strength just to be an overall human being. By no means have I been perfect. I've hit rock bottom, but I think that's who I am. Because of that, that's who I am now. And I want those individuals, whether I run into them for 5 minutes or I've been with them for 50 years, living with the individual, to know that, if I can give them that motivation to say, hey, you know what, it's okay to fail and it's okay to make mistakes, but, Carlos, whether I ran into him for 5 minutes, that short conversation helped motivate me. And that's how I did it with my soccer team. My goal, and I never promised a single player that I was going to get them a scholarship, but I told all those kids, I said, look, if you learn one thing from me, right? Mm-hmm. One thing, I did my job. And if when you graduate and we run into each other, and you're a very productive citizen, that's all that matters.
Awesome.
So.
Thank you so much for being here, man. It was wild to me to run into you, bro.
I know.
And I couldn't even remember the name, but the face. I'm like, I know this face.
I know when I seen each other, like, hold up. Where Bank of America, Aqua, where, and then we ran it. But it's a small world, man.
It's very much a small world. And again, just to the little bit of just a small conversation we had about the things you were doing, how unfortunately just corporate wasn't for you anymore, but you decided to go into your thing. And just I know that the journey itself is wild for an entrepreneur, of all the things that could happen and things that go, because a lot of people think that your boss or whatever, but you had to learn a lot of things like that $100 now, your type of thing, that tax thing, that everything else, certifications that you grow and go into that to me was in general, and just the passion itself for wanting to learn about audio in the beginning.
Yeah, it's a passion.
It was like, wow, that really I knew we were going to have a great talk whenever I got to see you, and I appreciate you very much. And without a shadow of that, Carlos, you are a global Latin factor. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for the invite. Fue un placer. We'll do it again.
Absolutely. This was another episode of the Global Latin Factor podcast. If you have not subscribed to the channel, what are you waiting for? Join the Global Latin Factor community. Why am I doing a lot of hand moves? Because it says on the video, it says you move your hands a lot. I'm just kidding. Remember, again, we are human. We are just like you. We are the spice in this melting pot that it is the world. Till next time.